Deepa, congratulations. What a wonderful film. Thank you. Now, Deepa, when you look at this film and you think about the book, do you remember exactly your reaction when you first read Midnight's Children, where you were, what you thought? And we'll also talk about how this eventually became a film. But what was your reaction to reading that book?
I read the book in 1982, and I was in New Delhi, India, when I read it, and it blew me away. Because Salman Rushdie, I think, not only wrote, I think, the first great novel about post-colonial India, but actually used the language that he used, in fact, turned English upside down on its head. And he gave us what is now popularly known as English. So he defined us for another generation, and it was mind-blowing.
You mentioned Salman Rushdie. How did that collaboration come to be? I know you've known each other for a long time, but how did you approach him? What was his reaction? Because he wasn't always keen to have this film made, I guess, until you approached him, right?
I don't know why. It just was totally pure instinct that I asked him. I said, who owns the rights to Midnight's Children? And he said, I do. And I said, how would you feel about us making it? And he said, done. And that was that. I mean, it was, and then, then you have to do the business dealings and to get the rights. You have to option a book before you make it into a film. And David had this incredible time with Salman about the money that we had to pay him for the book. And the funny thing is, I mean, it was just great. He sold us the rights for $1. So I think some things are meant to be.
Now, I know that he's also said if you option a book to be made into a film, either you walk away completely and stay uninvolved, or you completely dive in. And obviously here, he wrote the screenplay, he was also the narrator. But when he said, I'd like to write the screenplay, what did you think about that? Is that a bit too close for comfort? Did that concern you at all, that he wanted to stay so closely involved with his own words?
He did not want to write the screenplay at all. In fact, I really had to spend a lot of time persuading him to do it. He said, I've done it, I have no desire, you do it, I really don't want, just call me when you have your first public screening. And that was that. And I really insisted. And the reason I did was that I think Midnight's Children is an iconic book. It's a booker of bookers, and it's got huge generations of people who really love it. And I felt that the only person who could be disrespectful to it was Salman. And I think it's, I've done a few things that I would call somewhat bright, but this was brilliant. Because he got that, he understood it. And that's when he said, okay, I'll do it, but we have to work together.
So because he wasn't on the shoot and wasn't part of looking at the dailies, and he finally did see a version in the edit suite, how did he react?
I don't know if he liked this, if I tell you folks, but I was sitting behind him and the film was over, and he was crying. And he said, can I have some Kleenex? And I was so thrilled.